Mr. Mayor, I wish to acknowledge the step forward the administration has taken in eliminating, or at least partially eliminating, the terminal retirement spike from, in effect, 5% down to 3%. And I'd like to acknowledge the members of our uniformed services here tonight. There's at least 4 members of the uniformed services here tonight, and having worn the uniform for 30 years, I recognize the special responsibility and risk that's associated with wearing a uniform and having a lethal weapon on your body, and being in a position where you put that finger on the trigger, and the judgment that is called to bear in a situation like that, and the training. And we want the best and the brightest to be in the position of that nature, and we have to pay a commensurate amount to attract the best and the brightest. And yet we also have to live within our budget, and this contract, even with the desirable features, will cost the city $3 million over the life of the contract. $1.5 million the first year on the wage increases, and $1 million the second year on wage increases, and $1.5 million in the third year on wage increases. And what's concerning to this alderman is that I don't see a fiscal plan on how we're going to pay for this particular contract, nor the fact that we've got a fire contract to follow this police contract, and I don't see a fiscal plan on how we're going to pay for it, nor do I see a fiscal plan to more fully fund the pension funds. And with regard to the pension funds, our unfunded liability currently for police and fire to date, as of the last report we had, and I realize there's a new report that is not yet on our desk that may be in budget and management, but it's not with the alderman yet. But a year ago, our combined police and fire pension fund unfunded liability was $2.5 million. Now, that calculation was premised on a expected investment rate of return going forward of 7.5%, which is an unrealistic expectation. In the last 10 years, we've averaged about 5% in the last 10 years, and the next 10 years is expected to be an even lower average rate of return. So if you were to premise our expected rate of return of 5.5% on the monies that are so far set aside by the police and fire pension funds, and coincidentally it's also about $200 million that's set aside currently, then, and you recalculate on an actuarial basis the unfunded liability of our police and fire pension funds, then the actual unfunded liability is $400 million. $400 million. Now, if you divide $400 million by the, let's say, 50,000 households that we have in the city of Springfield, we end up with a per household debt attributable to police and fire pension funds of $8,000. That's a large amount. Now let's go back in time, 18 years in time, and let's see what the situation was 18 years ago. 18 years ago, the unfunded liability of police and fire combined was $15 million. And today, the more realistic amount is $400 million. Back then, 18 years ago, when it was $15 million, the average debt per household was about $400. And today, the average debt is about $8,000. So this is a very serious situation. Next week, we'll be asked to levy taxes for our police and fire pension funds. And that levy, based on the ordinance, which is on first reading tonight, will ask the taxpayers to produce $18 million from real estate taxes for our police and fire pension funds. And that $18 million is premised on an investment rate of return of 7.5% going forward. And we know how really unrealistic that is when long-term fixed income instruments are paying 2%. Now, if you come up with a more realistic investment rate of return of 5.5% going forward, then the amount that the City Council would have to levy from our taxpayers would be $27 million based on actuarial computations. So what this council will probably do in the next 2 weeks is approve a levy of $18 million and pretend like we don't need to levy $27 million, and the fiscal hole that we're in will just get deeper and deeper, just like it is taking place with the state of Illinois. And we've got 6 state employees on this council, And the state employees on this council should be in a really good position to recognize what's happening to our state of Illinois the last 20 years. So, in summary, we are living as a city ruinously beyond our means, which will force enormous sacrifices by future citizens of Springfield in terms of increased taxes, increased utility rates, and service cutbacks. And we've already seen that. The state of Illinois is on the same path. We have to separate ourselves from that path as a city council. So I will continue to vote no on all proposed wage increases. This is nothing against the Teamsters. It's nothing against the police. It's been a consistent vote, and I'll maintain that consistent vote for all wage increases, both management and union, until we have a fiscal plan that attempts to fully fund our pension funds. And until then, I will continue to vote against wage increases, against squad cars, and against new fire trucks, because the pension is our first and primary obligation. That's what we have to pay first. It's like a home mortgage. You pay your home mortgage before you buy a new car. So that's why I'll vote no. And again, it's nothing against fellow armed officers whom I greatly respect. And I've served with many officers from police and fire in the National Guard over many years, and I'd have them next to in a trench any day. Thanks a lot, Mayor.